Now I'm really excited to introduce our next keynote speaker, Jacquelline Fuller, who is the president of Google.org. Google.org is Google's philanthropic arm, which invests nearly $300 million a year in philanthropic commitments to innovative organizations applying technology for social good. But prior to joining Google.org, Jacqueline was the Deputy Director of Global Health at the Gates Foundation. And fun fact, she's my boss, so please give her a big round of applause. Welcome, Jacqueline.
All right, well, welcome everyone. I am so excited to be here. In fact, yesterday I was sitting with a friend having lunch, and she said, okay, of all the stuff you're working on across Google and Google.org, what are you most excited about? And I said, this room. What is happening in this room, the partnerships that are going on here, the progress being made here is absolutely the best and most exciting thing I've seen in my 12 years at Google.org. So I am so pleased to be here, and I'm so pleased that you all took your time to be here as well. So why am I so excited? Why do I think this has so much potential? Really, it's all about the power of artificial intelligence. You know, Sundar, our CEO, has said Google is going to be an AI-first company. He's going to bet the company on the power of AI. And we have seen it transform our business. It's helping make Gmail secure. It's helping you find that photo you want from Google Photos. It's doing amazing things. In fact, Sundar even said it could be as transformative as electricity. So at Google.org, we ask ourselves, how do we ensure that the benefits of technology, especially advanced technology like AI, is being brought to bear on the problems that really matter the most for humanity? Issues like climate change and poverty and gender inequality and mental health. Because we believe that everyone, everywhere, should benefit from the advances of technology. Not just businesses, not just the rich, everyone. So as we think about how can we as Google make the biggest impact in this area, it's through the kind of work that Yossi talked about that we're doing directly. But it's also about thinking, how do we bring the best of Google, all of our assets, and bring these to bear alongside the teams, the innovators, who are doing this work on the front lines. And so that's why we launched the single biggest initiative in Google.org's history, which is the Google AI Impact Challenge. We wanted to go out to the field and say, hey, we think that the technology is ripe. There are experts who know these issues. Is it the right time to bring these together? And honestly, we weren't really sure how it was going to go. Was the field really ready for this at this point? And we were absolutely blown away by the response. So there was more than 2,600 proposals received from more than 119 countries. And our brains almost melted trying to review those thousands and get down to 20 winners, to the finalists, the grantees who are in this room today. It was one of the hardest things that we've ever had to do because there were so many good ideas. But we also said when we found those teams, when we found those ideas, let's make sure we're bringing all of the best Google magic to bear. So the support has included things like funding from a pool of $25 million. So last night at the demos, I was talking to the Quill folks, and they were saying, thank you so much for funding us because nobody would fund this idea. It's so risky. And that's the concept of philanthropic capital, right? We should be risk capital. We should be investing in ideas that aren't right for government, where there's a market failure. We should be willing to take that kind of risk and back ideas that have tremendous potential. So the funding is part of it, but we really wanted to say, how can we also bring our expertise, our Googlers, our technologists, and help them work side by side with these teams? And that's actually functionally a hard thing to get right. It's a hard thing to do. And I am so appreciative that the Launchpad Accelerator team, Jason Titus and team, stepped up and said, you know what, we're going to do this together, and we are going to implement this in a way so that every single team has the resources, but they also have a dedicated AI coach. They have access to more than 150 mentors with specialized expertise and knowledge, and we're going to do this at scale. And that's what we've been doing together over the last 9 months. We also had teams of Google.org fellows that Jen has organized, where we're embedding some of our employees for full time, up to 6 months, teams of 4 to 5, to help bring these projects to fruition. We had the cloud team step in, for example, providing expertise in cloud credits. So we're really trying to think about how can we as Google surround these grantees, these winners, with all of the Google magic possible. And so here you all are in your full glory, and we're so excited and inspired by your impact. The idea about today, though, is getting everyone to know about your ideas and your impact, for you to get to know each other's work, and for the people who are here today in this audience to be part of this journey together. So I thought it would be helpful to share a few of the learnings that we had from looking at those 2,600 applications, but even more so through the work that we've done together over this last year. Because we think this is actually the first and the richest data set around this topic of AI for good that's ever been explored. So we published a report with these findings. It's available today. Let me go through a few of the insights and see if they resonate with you. So insight number 1, AI is now more accessible than ever before. What we have seen is that teams are able to think about ways of applying machine learning in their world, in their expertise, even if they haven't done it before. In fact, about 40% of the proposals came from orgs with no prior experience in artificial intelligence. And half of our winners, in fact, are using AI for the first time. And this is partly because developers from around the world, including places like Google, have developed tools like TensorFlow that enable people that don't have deep backgrounds in machine learning to use best-in-class algorithms. So, and this is important, you're not reinventing the wheel. In fact, every single one of the winning teams is using some existing frameworks in some form. One of the examples of this is Gringo Trash Tech. So they're addressing Indonesia's ocean plastics problem you saw in the video earlier. They're using an image recognition app that's going to help waste collectors to sort the recycling and also track their earnings. So Gringo is leveraging Cloud's AutoML, and that's helping them to create and optimize their model. So these kinds of tools can help developers to train high-quality custom models and save time and have a higher quality output. At the end of the day, what this means in real life, though, is what used to take weeks or months can now get down to days. Insight number 2. Even though AI is growing more accessible, machine learning is not always the right answer. So it might be a little surprising to hear that from Google, but it was really one of the most important takeaways that we saw. Because through reading some of the proposals, we saw, there's a lot of opportunity to do a better job of explaining exactly what machine learning is, when it's useful, and how to use it responsibly. So we saw a lot of projects that frankly just really overestimated the ability of AI to solve their issue. And oftentimes there were just simpler, faster, cheaper ways of achieving the desired outcome. And at its core, for a lot of nonprofits, a more pressing need is really just around improving core data and reporting systems, long before we get to machine learning. So understanding how and when and why machine learning is going to be most effective is really going to help conserve precious time and resources. So we've created a couple tools to help demystify this, and they're available to everyone. So one is the Intro to Machine Learning Problem Framing. And that's to help people to figure out, okay, this issue, the cause I care about, the thing I'm working on, is it particularly suited to machine learning? And our People in AI guidebook is a step-by-step guide to help design human-centered AI products. But our goal for today is to talk about some of the ways that we are seeing AI being really effectively leveraged and to share those examples with the broader ecosystem. So insight number 3, transforming AI models into actual social impact, into actual changed lives is really, really hard. So even when machine learning is the best tool, and even when you have a strong data set, I see some smiles back there, and a strong model, it still requires a lot of really careful planning and really top-notch execution to get it right. Let me give you an example. So one of our partners, Wadhwani AI, is using an image recognition app to help farmers and government workers to track agricultural pests in India. So Wadhwani is a really technically advanced organization. They've got data, they've got strong AI models, but translating that to impact at scale is still a really tall order. They're designing for their end user, of course, and so their end users have different levels of literacy, different levels of comfort with technology, come from many different cultural backgrounds, lots of different languages. So making the technology actually work on the ground is a lot about user input, testing, more user input, more testing, training, more user input, testing, training. Another example is happening in Makerere University in Kampala. You saw the video earlier about the team there using AI to monitor air pollution. So if they get this right, the data that they have can actually change government policy. It can also help just everyday citizens figure out what to do. So for example, letting teachers know on a particularly bad air quality day to keep the kids inside. So they're developing a coalition of experts that are helping them take their insights and then make them actionable. So let's take a moment and look at their story.
This is a story about the air. Pollution levels in Kampala are very high. Unfortunately, this is true for many other African cities. Approximately 7 million people die every year from air pollution exposure. And I quickly realized that computer science has a role to play to create solutions. My name is Engineer, and I'm a Google AI Impact Challenge grantee. Yes, my name is really Engineer. So it certainly confuses people. You know, the first step to solve the problem of air pollution is to measure it. So together with my students and my team, we started creating low-cost air quality monitors and installed them across the city. But Kampala is a big city, and we didn't have enough resources to put monitors everywhere. We had this idea that we could install air monitors on motorbike taxis that we call border borders. They go almost everywhere, including off-road. We use AI to know what are the sources of air pollution, but it also helps us predict how air quality is going to be in the next few days. And we use this information to inform the government agencies on how to reduce pollution in our cities. We are really fortunate to be the grantees of the Google AI Impact Challenge. In our vision is clean air for all African cities.
Woo! So, Engineer and his team are here today. Where are you? Are you in the auditorium? So, woo! Awesome, so you can follow up today with them in person. All right, insight number 4, prioritizing responsibility, absolutely essential. And the way we do that, the how we do that, is gonna vary greatly with the context, and we have to get that right. So Jeff Dean, who leads Google AI, and he and his team have been a partner in this every step of the way, from conception to execution. You know, Jeff has said, we know that using powerful technology raises equally powerful questions. And we all know in this auditorium that the ways that AI is being built and deployed are going to dramatically affect society. So at Google, the way we've thought about this is developing a set of AI principles that we're using as an ethical charter that informs everything that we do. So all of our grantees, all of the winning teams have aligned with these AI principles through a detailed review and are putting them in practice. And we're going to have a panel that I'm really looking forward to on learnings around responsible AI coming up later. All right, final insight. Probably won't surprise you, but none of this can do it alone. All of the projects here today, all of the winning teams are really rooted deeply in partnerships, and a lot of times surprising partnerships with surprising bedfellows, bringing together people who aren't used to working together in their separate silos, but are coming together in new ways. Let me give you one example. Médecins Sans Frontières developed an image recognition app to help diagnose disease and prescribe antibiotics, happening in some of the most difficult healthcare settings imaginable around the world. But it all began with one microbiologist at MSF, Nada Molu. I think Nada's here. Is Nada in the auditorium? Woot, woot! And Nada was working in clinics in Yemen and Jordan and just saw a huge need to have that diagnostic expertise that they were never going to be able to train enough people to get into those settings. So she went back home, went back to Paris, worked alongside a computer science researcher, and built out a prototype. Those are not the kinds of usual conversations or partnerships that we see enough of, frankly, today. And her story is not unique. We see so much room for collaboration, so much room for bringing together surprising coalitions of people with different areas of expertise. And that's why we've invited all of you. In fact, I look out over this audience and I see people that I didn't know were coming who led tech companies and are now angel investors, and people who were senior engineers at major tech companies and are now dedicating their lives full-time to engineering for social impact. I see friends from places like World Bank and global foundations. It's so excited to have everyone here in this room today because these are the kinds of coalitions that we're going to need to take these solutions even further. So, in conclusion, we all have a role to play. None of us can do this alone. Google is a small player in this piece. We're trying to figure out how we can be most helpful, but we'd love to hear back from you, your feedback on how we can do that and how we can do better. And Bridget and Molly and Micah and Jen and Rosmi and team, everyone is here and would love to hear any feedback you have or input on how Google can show up in a better way in this space. So we know this ecosystem's in early days. A lot of these projects and what you're trying to do is really just at the beginning. But this is really, I think, a moment for all of us to come together, governments, companies, nonprofits, impacted communities leading the way in ways that we have never done before, and really shift the curve, not just make incremental change on these social problems, these huge challenges to humanity, but actually shift the curve and deliver solutions. So I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and thanks for joining us on this journey.